Hi everyone, welcome to the beginning of two separate series on the channel. First is album rankings, discography rankings, and also at the same time the beginning of celebrating 40 years of my favourite band of all time, Metallica. The discography rankings I'll probably talk a bit more about in the next episode. But we're just going to be doing the studio albums of Metallica, so no extended plays like the Garage Days and Beyond Magnetic, S&M and Lulu. No, not going to be here, just the normal studio albums. I've got lots and lots planned for this whole celebration as it's a special landmark, 40 years. And yeah, they're my favourite band of all time, so I thought I have to do something special. So this is the first episode of this sort of celebration series of Metallica. And yeah, before we get into the discography ranking, if you're not subscribed, drop me a subscribe and check the other playlists out. All comments and all of that is much appreciated. Now, let's just get straight into this. So, number 10 and last on my list is pretty much everyone else's last on their Metallica discography rankings is Saint Anger. Now, I don't hate this album. I actually think some of it is alright. The big problem that I have with this album is that the songs are just too long and they just go on forever. They do the verse and then the chorus and then they do it all over again, and it's just an absolute waste. That really, if the songs were shorter and they'd done like one verse, one massive chorus, and then done the rest of the song, made them a bit shorter, it would have been so much better. The fact that there's no solos on this doesn't really bother me, but solos obviously is better, so it would have been better if it would have had solos on it. But they kind of went for the nu metal sort of raw sort of sounding album, and yeah, I'm just gonna open it up so you can see there's a picture of the band. I think that says a lot that they're all walking away. Even they didn't like this album, but yeah, it's got Rob Trujillo on the actual inside, but he didn't actually play on this. But Bob Rock done the bass on this and produced it, and yeah, I don't really know what he was playing at, because this album production wise is awful. But yeah, and vocally it's not great, but the songs that I actually do like, Frantic is the only song that I probably would keep the same. Saint Anger's alright but too long. Some Kind of Monster's alright but too long. Purify is really cool, but the end bit just needs cutting for me, and that's perfect. All Within My Hands is actually a pretty cool song. They do a pretty decent reworked song of that, like reworked version of that. Yeah, the rest of the album I could just take or leave really. But yeah, number 10 is Saint Anger. Number 9. Now this, I actually have changed this last minute because it was number 8, but I've put it to number 9 recently because I just don't think it's as good anymore. It's Reload. I had it at number 8. But for some reason now, when I go back to this, I just don't think it's as good. Production wise, they kind of went for more of a modern sort of sound, which at first I liked, but now listening to it back, it just sounds a bit naff really. There is some good stuff on here. There's probably better stuff on here than on Saint Anger. Fuel, The Memory Remains, Devil's Dance is probably my favourite song on the album. The Unforgiven 2 is actually pretty good. Slither is really cool. I like Where the Wild Things Are. It's a bit of a different sort of sounding song, but I like that one. The rest of the album, I'm not really that bothered about. Prince Charming's pretty cool. But yeah, this album, this was the last album to feature Jason Newsted on bass, out in 1997, and Saint Anger was 2003. I should have just mentioned that, but oh well. Yeah, this is just not as good anymore as I first thought it was. So yeah, number 9, Reload. Number 8, that brings us on to number 8, Load. And yeah, number 8 seems pretty low down the order, but I actually really like this. This is actually really good. This come out a year before Reload in 1996. Really sort of hard rock kind of vibe to this album. There's sort of grungy elements to it as well, and a lot different to their early stuff. But there's actually some really good stuff on here. If you want to listen to either one of Reload or Load, I'd go with Load, because there's better stuff on here. And James looks like Lemmy Kilmister, which is really cool as well. But yeah, songs such as Ain't My Bitch, 2x4, I Like the House That Jack Built, King Nothing, Bleeding Me, The Cure, Wasting My Hate, The Outlaw Torn. It's all really good stuff. The songs I'm not that bothered about. Mama Said, just no, I don't really like that song. Until It Sleeps, I'm not really bothered about that song. I know quite a lot of people say it's one of the best on the album, but personally, I really don't think it is. Poor Twisted Me. No, not really. But overall, yeah, this is good. If you combined songs off this and songs off Reload, you could make a really great album. That actually could be a video that I might do for celebrating Metallica. So yeah. Number 8 is Load. Right, now number 7 is their latest album, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Now, when this first come out in 2016, I was at college and I played this to absolute death, and I absolutely loved it. I still do, but over time I kind of just think, well, it's all right. There's some good stuff on it. There's some okay stuff on it, but yeah, obviously the other albums are better than this. But yeah, this is the special deluxe edition. I thought I'd show it off. If you haven't got the deluxe edition, that's what it looks like. So you got disc 1, which is side 1, disc 2, which is side 2, and then this special bonus disc, which is actually probably one of the best bits about this whole pack. If you can get this for the bonus disc, is really good, because they do a lot of the old stuff live. There's lots of live versions of the old stuff, and also some extra bonus tracks. Lords of Summer, which was a bonus song that they wrote but didn't quite make the album, which I think is actually really good. And then they do Rainbow medley, and they do a cover of When a Blind Man Cries by Deep Purple, and also they do a Iron Maiden cover of Remember Tomorrow, and a Helpless cover, and that's live. And then yeah, all the rest is like old stuff and Hardwired as well. But yeah, talking about this album now rather than all the bonus stuff. Yeah, Hardwired, Atlas Rise, Moth into Flame, Halo on Fire, really good stuff. I like Spit Out the Bone. I like Confusion. I kind of grown to like that one. The rest, Now That We're Dead, I sort of have grown to kind of like that song, but it's a bit, it's all right. Man Unkind is all right. Here Comes Revenge. Am I Savage? Lots of people don't like that song. I'm not really sure why. It's not that bad. But yeah, it's just some good stuff and some average stuff on this, I'm afraid. But still really good, and I still absolutely love this album. Now, moving on to number 6 on the list. is their 2008 album Death Magnetic. Now this is more like it. This is what we wanted Metallica to be like, of their, you know, modern era Metallica. This is what we want. This is what we want, really. This is like, this was the blueprint for what Hardwired really should have been. Hopefully the next album's going to be more like this, because this is actually really, really good. If you haven't listened to this, give it a listen, because there's actually some really good stuff on here. There isn't a song that I don't like on here. All the songs I really, really like. And yeah, this was the first one produced by Rick Rubin, and I think that helped massively for Metallica to just get back on track with this. But yeah, the track listings, there isn't a song that I don't like, so I'm just gonna list them all, really. That Was Just Your Life. That's a really awesome opener. The End of the Line. That is one of the best songs on the album. Broken, Beaten, Scarred. I love that song. Love that song. The Day That Never Comes is really, really cool. It sort of harks back to the sort of And Justice for All era Metallica a little bit. All Nightmare Long's a really cool song. Cyanide I really like as well. The Unforgiven 3 is a bit of a different sounding song, but I still actually quite enjoy it. The Judas Kiss is a pretty cool song. Bit long, but still pretty decent. Suicide and Redemption is a really awesome instrumental. Just goes on and on and on, and it's really cool. And then it ends with My Apocalypse, which is a pretty cool end to the album. But yeah, overall I really, really like this. So yeah, it's not quite as good as the early stuff, but it's probably the best that Metallica are going to do. And yeah, it's number 6. Moving on to number 5 in my list, I have the Black Album. Now this is really, really, really good. I don't get why people don't like, or some people are not a big fan of this album. I personally don't understand it, because there's some really, really good stuff on here. To say that they sold out with this album, they did. Yeah, they did. They did sell out with this album, but it still doesn't take away the fact that there's some absolute banging, like, heavy metal songs on here. Not thrash. That's probably it. But there's some really, really cool songs. If you like your old school heavy metal, then this is just going to be perfect for you. Obviously, Enter Sandman and Sad But True are, you know, they're the songs that made this album, and also another one that we'll come on to later. But yeah, Holier Than Thou, I absolutely love that song. Holier Than Thou. Yeah, I'll just show you the insides of it. Yeah, Holier Than Thou, really cool. Unforgiven is a really good song. That's just a really, really cool song. Wherever I May Roam, another absolute classic that doesn't get played enough at Metallica gigs. They ought to play that one more. Don't Tread on Me, I really like that song. It's really cool. Through the Never, another absolute banger, that one. Really, really cool, tricky kind of riff. And then we come on to The Elephant in the Room, Nothing Else Matters. And that song, I really, really don't like it. I really, really, really do not like that song. It just goes on too long, and that is the sellout song of this album, and that's what done it for me. But if that song wasn't on here, actually no. If that song wasn't on here, it probably still would be 5th. But yeah, and then the other songs of Wolf and Man's pretty cool. God That Failed's pretty cool. My Friend of Misery, and The Struggle Within, pretty decent. But yeah, the first half of this album is really, really good, and Through the Never. So yeah, this is just solid. You can't go wrong with this album, apart from Nothing Else Matters. Now we're moving into the top 4. which quite ironically are the first 4 albums, because they are the best Metallica albums. We're all, not going to argue with that. But number 4 for me is And Justice for All. Not because of the bass, not because of the bass. The songs are really, really cool, and they go on for absolutely ages. Some of these, two of these songs nearly go on for 10 minutes. I just think that this album has the slightly weaker songs. They usually on this album they play one all the time, and then they play Blackened a couple of times, and then the rest of it they never ever play. And I don't know whether it's because they're too complex. The songs are really, really complex on this album. It's probably the most progressive Metallica album that they've ever done. This was the first album to feature Jason Newsted, and there's a neat picture of the band back in the day. But yeah, there is some really, really good stuff on here, and the only reason why it's 4th is because the top 3 I just like more. That's just simply it. I just can't say it anymore. But yeah, Blackened is absolutely awesome. That's probably my favourite song on the album. And Justice for All is absolutely brilliant. Eye the Beholder is alright. It's pretty cool. It's alright. 1 is absolutely amazing. The Shortest Straw is really, really cool. I really like that song. Harvest of Sorrow as well is a really good song. That would have fit well on the Black Album, to be fair. Frayed Ends of Sanity is sort of hit and miss. It's alright. To Live Is To Die is an absolutely amazing instrumental. And then ends with Dyer's Eve. Absolute thrash fest. That song is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, this is a really, really great album, but it's still only 4th, which just goes to show how good the top 3 are, really. Right, number 3 is their debut album, Kill 'Em All, that come out in 1983. Now, this is just brilliant. This has got to be one of the best thrash metal debut albums of all time. Has to be. Absolutely has to be. There's some absolutely brilliant songs on here. Again, not a song that I don't like on here. Hit the Lights starts off with Hit the Lights, just absolutely just goes straight in. The Four Horsemen is unbelievable song. I absolutely love the Four Horsemen. Absolutely brilliant. Motor Breath is really, really cool. I do like that song. Jump in the Fire. That's another great one with an absolutely amazing solo at the end of that song. Brilliant, brilliant. Anastasia, Pulling Teeth. Just Cliff at his, just Cliff doing what he wants, which is absolutely awesome. I love that song. If you can call it a song, it isn't really, but I love it. I love listening to that song. It's wicked. Whiplash is just absolute madness. Phantom Lord, that is actually a really good song. And then No Remorse after that. Another great track. I probably would say they're probably two of the weakest on the album, if you can call them the weakest on the album. They're not terrible, they're not crap, they're still great. Seek and Destroy is one of the best songs on the album. Absolutely classic song that they still play live now. And Metal Militia to end it off. Absolute crazy thrash at its absolute best on that song. Really, really awesome. Ho ho ho. Ho ho ho. Oh, look at them back in the day. Oh, that's great. And well, obviously, of course, quite a lot of these songs were written by Dave Mustaine. I believe the Four Horsemen, Jump in the Fire, and Metal Militia for definite. And I think Seek and Destroy as well a little bit. I think Dave Mustaine co-wrote those. But yeah, this is absolutely brilliant. One of the best thrash debut albums of all time. We're coming on to the top 2. Now, this is incredibly difficult because I love both of these albums for, well, similar reasons really. They're both like the first 2 albums that I listened to back when I was 12 years old. But yeah, really difficult to split these 2. But my number 2, just by the smallest margin, is Master of Puppets. And I know this album is a lot of people's favourites, so probably gonna cause a bit of controversy there, but oh well, it's my list, so there you go. But to say that this is number 2 is not saying that it's terrible, because it's absolutely brilliant from start to finish. This album is literally unbelievable. One of the best metal albums ever. One of the most influential metal albums ever. Yeah, I got this album. I first listened to this. The first actual Metallica song I ever heard was Battery when I was 12, and I was absolutely hooked. So this really is the album that got me into Metallica, got me into metal. Yeah, and turned me into a metalhead. So I can't really give this album, you know, enough plaudits. Where do we start? Battery, just absolutely pounding, thrashing like hell. Absolutely awesome song. The solo is unbelievable. You've just got some absolute classics. Master of Puppets, Welcome Home Sanitarium is brilliant. Orion instrumental is absolutely fantastic. Damage Incorporated, just absolute madness. Disposable Heroes is really cool song with an awesome guitar solo. Leper Messiah, and The Thing That Should Not Be. The Thing That Should Not Be is just absolute heavy as hell, man. That song is just so damn heavy. It's got to be, well, probably for today's standards, when Cannibal Corpse and Suicide Silence exists, it's not as heavy. But back in the day, that was probably by far the heaviest song that exists. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this album at all. This was the last album to feature the late Cliff Burton, which is sad that he was only on 3 albums. But yeah, this is absolutely legendary album. Brilliant. But it's still not as good as my number 1. Now we come to the number 1, which kind of, I'll give it away already if you know, obviously. And also my t-shirt sort of gives it away as well. My number 1, my ultimate favourite Metallica album of all time. It will never get beat. It's Ride the Lightning. Just because the sound on this album is just absolutely pure heavy. I know on Master of Puppets they had that certain sound that is just really heavy and really thrashy, but this sound is dirty and evil and angry, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love that sound. I wish they would go back to a sound like that, but they won't, which is a shame. But yeah, from start to finish, this album is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Even the song Escape that they wrote in 4 days, because the record label forced them to make a song in 4 days, and that song is absolutely awesome as well. I know they don't like the song because of that fact, but still, it's a great track. And if it was on Hardwired or Load or Reload, it would by far be the best song on the album, I think, or one of at least. But yeah, Fight Fire with Fire just opens with that acoustic intro, which is so cool, and then it just goes straight into the which is awesome. That was one of the first songs I heard off this album, and it absolutely just gripped me straight away. I just thought, oh my goodness. Oh wow. And then the title track, Ride the Lightning is a brilliant song. I wish they'd play that song more because the solo is absolutely brilliant. I love the guitar solo in that song. For Whom the Bell Tolls, classic. I know it's a pretty simplistic sounding song. There isn't a lot to it, but it's still heavy as hell. Awesome when they play it live. Kirk with the whammy solo at the end. It's just brill. It's just a wicked, wicked song. Fade to Black, another absolute classic that everyone knows. But that song is so good. It deserves the plaudits, really. And then the songs after that, the B-side, it doesn't really hold up. Trapped Under Ice is a really, really cool song. I actually done a cover of it on my channel back in September because I just really love that song. It's a really fun song to play, really fun song to listen to. Yeah, Escape, we just talked about. Creeping Death, another absolute classic on here. Yeah, that song is just so damn good. When they play that one live, everyone's just like, I love that song. I love that song when they play it live. It's just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And then the last song, The Call of Cthulhu, instrumental, progressive metal inventors. That song. And again, Dave Mustaine had a writing credit for Ride the Lightning and The Call of Cthulhu. There's the back again. And actually, let's just, for old time's sake, love that, love that. Love that picture of Cliff Burton. That one is just brilliant. But yeah, The Call of Cthulhu is one of my favourite Metallica songs of all time. I absolutely love that song. Pretty much invented progressive metal with that song. And it is just so damn good. I love this album. It is the best Metallica album for me. Right, so there we are. There is my discography ranking of Metallica and the beginning of these two series. Let me know what's your favourite Metallica album and what's your ranking. Just let me know because I'd love to know. Thanks for everyone who's got to the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep it metal.